Welcome to Bear Bow Hunter Podcast with your host, Nate Bailey, where we look to the ancient paths of our hunting ancestors to guide our future, where woodsmanship and hard work outweigh advanced shooting devices, where we value those who have gone before us and welcome those who are yet to come. Join us as we exchange valuable insight about the Bear Bow Hunter's lifestyle. Welcome to another edition of Bear Bow Hunters Podcast, and today we have with us Johnathan Karch, who now is Johnny to me. How you doing, man?
Hey, buddy. I'm doing good. Yes, Johnny. You know, I answer to it all, but my friends get to call me Johnny, so everybody should.
That's cool.
Happy to be here, bud. I know we've talked about doing this for a while, and sorry about the delay being able to do it, but it's been well, I think everybody can say it's been a crazy year.
Yes.
So glad we're finally able to connect.
Yeah. And I did mention your 3Rivers Archery, right? Did I mention that already?
I don't know. Now you say it.
So yeah, you are 3Rivers Archery. You and your father own it, correct? Or your CEO or?
Interesting. There's actually been a change to that in the past little over a month. So my folks own 3Rivers Archery.
Uh-huh.
We moved here. Well, my family bought it in '99, and we moved from Wisconsin to Indiana to take over, and been part of it ever since. A few different roles there for me, but just recently, my folks are going to try the, I guess, quote unquote, retired life. They are considered shareholders now, so they're still involved, but they get to relax a lot more. And Teresa Williams and myself have taken over the lead role. She is our CEO official title, and mine is president.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. It's interesting. You know, Teresa and I have been running the place for the past few years now, with my folks being able to. They moved down to Florida. They've been permanent residents there for, I want to say, about a year now. But Teresa and I have really ran the company for a while, but this was kind of that official nudge of, okay, now it's
right.
legit.
Right.
So they're still the owners, but they're not going to be in the shop. Man, maybe when they come see the grandkids, I guess it'd be the only time they'll come up.
Right. Yeah. So it's pretty cool what I've seen. Your guys' catalog with your dad and you, and the way you depicted kind of I don't want to say transition, because there is no transition in traditional archery. It's just the way that we are. But I thought that was really cool, the way that you guys did that with that cover.
Well, thank you. Yeah. That was definitely a few months in the making of, like, you know what, we want to have, that feeling to it, because it's not the transition of where traditional archery is, but it's the all encompassing of it, of everything being on that page. It's traditional archery.
Yeah, we're traditional archers, even if we wear a fedora or a First Light hat,
That's right.
Yep. No, I really like that. And then, like I like to say is, my son he's still shooting a compound. He actually picked up a longbow this year, and he's shooting it now. And so we're hoping that that's what he's going to do for elk season. He will not do it if he doesn't feel confident in it, but that's, what I like to say, though, is a lot of the combo guys, or compound shooter guys that are around me, a lot of those guys are just future traditional archers.
Right. Well, and I tell you, what I see a lot, or I've seen a lot through the years, is they are traditional archers, but they're doing it kind of like your son. They don't have that confidence level, so like they will shoot all year round traditional bow, but when it comes to hunting and that, they're like, man, I'm just not there yet, so they'll pick the compound up. There is a huge amount of compound guys, quote unquote, that own traditional bows and love shooting them. It's just getting them over to where, they're that traditional bow hunter, and that's how they're identifying. But, to me, it's all in what your comfort level is. I've been on a few hunts where you'd be with a gun hunter there, and they're like, but I shoot bow too, I'm like, dude, you don't have to defend it. Hunt how you feel, shoot how you feel. But this is me. This is what I love.
Right. Yeah. And, and with him too, the big thing is he wants to be able to make that clean shot. And not that he wouldn't, he just doesn't know if he could hold it together. When you have, the way he tells me is when you have these things that you go through in your mind, that you have to check, like your sight and looking through this and looking through that. And I said, well, that's not much different than what I do when I go through, my shot process. So he's getting ready. He killed that little bull last year, and he's like, I could have done that with my longbow. And I was like, yeah, you could have.
Yeah, it's just taking that leap,
Yeah.
and everybody's got to hit that comfort level because it's funny. It's like, I mean, that's the same thing every traditional bow hunter has, going through their head when it's happening. Like, man, it's got to do this right, But you just got to get to that point where you're at the comfort level and you take the dive.
Right. Right. Yeah. And you prepare the best you can. And if you're whacking a 3D target at 30 yards and making a very consistent, staying in that lethal zone, shoot, that's all you can do. So
Yep.
jump right in. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's that's definitely that. There's so many people that it's like, just go for it. Go for it. It's fun. You love shooting the bow. Take the jump. But,
Yeah.
everybody's got to be at the comfort level because
Sure.
I think the biggest thing when it comes especially to hunting is you got to have 100% confidence.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only reason there's so many broadheads out there in the market is because somebody lost confidence in shooting one, and then they go to the next one. And
I
it's
hear
like
you.
they all do the same or work the same to a degree, and especially in the settings. But it's like, man, that one failed on me, so I'm on to the next one. But it's like you got to have 100% confidence, otherwise you're not going to do it.
Right.
And that's okay. Like
Right.
that, as long as people enjoy shooting a bow,
Heck
they'll
yeah.
get there.
Yep. Yep. Speaking of that, we talked about this before I pushed record, but I was going to ask you: have you seen a growth in people getting into archery this year?
Yeah, well,
2020.
we were super fortunate for the state of Indiana. We were able to stay open. We qualified under the essential business in that, so we were able to go through the whole year. Very, very fortunate for that fact. But we saw great growth and a lot of demand. So everything from just catalog requests to people buying stuff off the shelves, and especially new people, which is what really made me excited because you
Yeah.
saw what I think happened when I look back to it. I don't have any studies or results to credit to it, so it's just my personal opinion. But like, there are so many people out there. You talk to them, go, oh yeah, I used to shoot traditional back in
Yeah.
camp day or whatnot, but I don't have the time. And then a world over got handed a lot of free time for a lot of folks. And they said, well, I got the time, and they wanted to be outdoors. So archery and a lot of outdoor sports really had a lot of growth. Now, the question will be if it sticks around. And you and I were talking, my opinion is I'm hoping so. I think it's got the best chance to, because, this was genuine interest to people in the outdoors. Of like, man, I'd love to do that, but I don't have the time. And now they've had the time to try it, see if they like it, get comfortable with it. And we'll see if they stay or go. Because last time we saw growth like this is when it was in the movies.
Right.
Hunger Games had huge growth to people because they saw it and they really dived right into it. But that was movie growth. That's fad that can come and go easy enough. But what we had this past year of hands-on, really being able to dive into it has been, we'll see where it was. But yeah, last year had a lot of demand for archery gear.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people too, and the thing about archery is, and even without bow hunting, I'm a bow hunter first, I think, before I am, anything else. I just love the idea of being in the woods, hunting with a trad bow. But I think also just regular old archery, just getting out and shooting is such a immersive sport, right? It gets you to where you have to really kind of converse with what's going on around you, with distances. It's such a internal sport that people are probably, if you get bows in their hands, that's what we've always said, right? You just get a bow in somebody's hand, they're gonna naturally want to do it. And
Absolutely,
man,
absolutely.
yeah, this bow, and we've seen hunting too. We've seen a big uptick in hunting this year as well. I didn't even draw my spring bear tag, That's how. Yeah, that's how big of an uptick it was. There were so like 3 years ago, they would have like 2,000 leftover tags.
Yep. And there's the real kicker here is to find out where what keeps us what keeps the momentum going, and I think that's going to be on the states and companies and well, everybody really. How do you keep them engaged now? But it's great to see like something like that. Like, okay, because for the states, they want those tags sold. They want people out hunting and all that. And it's like, all right, so we got a taste of it. How do we keep it rolling?
Right, right. With as far as the hunting's concerned, the bear's concerned, I hope the guys that got the tags actually go out and make good of those tags, because boy, you know what that's going to do for our deer and elk herds, especially in the
Right.
spring. That springtime is when those big boars really pick off a lot of the fawns and the calves, because it's just an easier food source for them. So
Right.
it'll be nice to see, man, if our harvest numbers jump up too. Last year, I think we were like at 365 out of 4,000 tags. So hopefully that harvest jumps up along with the amount of hunters too.
Yeah. Yeah. Best of luck to all of them getting out there. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if you know the insides and outs of Oregon bears, but our bear
Nope.
numbers skyrocketed because we could only hunt them. You can't hunt them over bait, and you can't hunt them with dogs. So, but guys are getting very resourceful now. Guys, man, there's getting to be a lot of bears getting shot. So it's good. It's a management tool. It's a good thing.
Hmm.
That these guys are managing this stuff. So, yeah. One thing you'll find out, Johnny, if you're on a podcast with me, there'll be rabbit trails everywhere. So, I'm sorry about that, but there'll be rabbit trails everywhere. But it does go back to say that, guys are really getting into, guys and gals are getting in, and kids too. I mean, I get so many kids coming up and wanting to learn how to do this, learn how to do that. And I think it's a great thing. I think also it's an opportunity for us to promote it in the right way as well.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I know. I know from what I've seen on it is, yeah, it's all ages getting into it, which is very exciting. I mean, that's like I said, the biggest thing is going to be okay. What do we do now? And it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I'm really hoping the archery shoots once we finally get back to
Oh man,
having those on the regular, like those organizations really double down on the advertising because it's like there's great chance to get a lot of new people there and shooting. And I think if you can do that, because archery is a very personalized, internal. You compete against
yeah,
yourself. It's
yeah,
how it's all internal. So
yep,
you can get people to archery shoots and 3D shoots and that to engage with others and the heck, I probably don't have to tell you on how much fun it is to get a bunch of traditional archers together. That's what's going to keep the growth of the sport going, and where they go, you know what, I like this. This is something I want to be doing,
right.
and it'll be neat. It'll be neat. I definitely, when anytime I talk to anybody that puts on archery shoots, it's like you got to be spending the advertising dollars out there to make sure you're getting new people. So
Yeah, 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 and put it in front of the people that are already interested. Nowadays we could target that. It's
yep.
it's a lot easier nowadays to actually put it in front of the eyes that want to see it, and that's half the battle, isn't it? Just getting it out there to where people could actually see what's going on.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. Just having the right eyes on it, but you're right, especially in today's digital age, for
Yeah,
better or worse, it's a lot easier to get it in front of them. So
right, right. Yeah, and one of the things though that we're finding, I don't know if you guys are finding it also, but I am. I've been searching for the last 3 days to try to buy a stinking mountain bike. Can you believe that? I couldn't get a hold of a mountain bike. I finally just pulled the trigger on one today that I did finally round up, but that's crazy. Are you guys running into some of that supply, some of those issues?
yeah, so it's kind of twofold. One, you had the demand jump up, so even for every company that says knows how to forecast well, to make sure they have the right stock on there is, here's this demand you didn't know of, and it's like
Right,
okay, well it's chewing
right.
up, and then you go to order, and you have your vendors going, I don't have any. or in the other case, especially a lot of this stuff now it's imported in that the international shipping lanes were just shut down for a while. I mean, you look about
Right.
getting auto parts even, and you couldn't get repairs because they didn't have it. And yeah, we definitely saw that. I'll tell you, there was some peaks during last year when I've seen the bare wood of some of our shelves that I can say I have never seen before. We did good. I give great credit to my team. I got a lot of solid people that were able to adapt and do well and do well. I guess they do the best we could because we definitely got low. We got low there for a while, but we've been able to find new sources or people that had it and get something on the shelf. Because yeah, when people have demand and want it, they're not gonna wait. Especially when you didn't know how long it would be to get it in. But yeah, that was not a mountain bike exclusive problem. That was outdoor sports across.
Yeah, and I was reading because I was doing a lot of it online. I searched my local shops here, and they were like, "Man, you're just gonna have to go online, and good luck." And
Yep.
and then I went online and I was reading some of the comments, and I was like, "Man, you guys are tearing these guys up. You don't even know what they're going through trying to help you out, man."
I'll tell you on that. Like especially when it first started, like everyone, we were fortunate we were able to stay open, but we already had a lot of practices in place for distancing as it is because we're a pretty lean organization. We're not that giant. Actually, at this time we got 30 people, which is the most we've ever had, but um, we're able to keep it spaced. What I'm getting at is it was like we even went bare bones then, and the first question you get is, "Hey, are you guys shipping?" Okay, this is what I want, and you can go from there. And then everybody was understanding and reasonable, but as it went out, like 8 months passed
Yeah.
into it all, that's when they seemed to forget a bit. And it'd be like, well, what do you mean it took 2 days to ship my order? You guys normally get it out the same day. And it's like, yeah, well, I'm running with it.
Right,
Like
right,
any other year where demand was different, I'd go hire a handful more folks to help out, but you couldn't hire because nobody was wanting to work,
right,
much less if you wanted to risk having more people, to compound all the issues of
right.
pandemic distancing and that.
Eh,
So yeah, and then I tell you what, Christmas. Not many people know this, but we bit the bullet and we pushed everything. If it wasn't going in like the smallest first class, went UPS.
Right,
And at Christmas time, everything's free shipping for the most part. Our minimum's $49 plus, so it's
right,
pretty easy to fill that.
right,
So UPS costs more, but we're like, we want people to have their products. So we made the decision of, okay, we're going to send everything UPS. And I wish I'd have done it a week or so sooner because
it worked out.
um, it worked out. And, the problem with, the ones the week before was like, I'm sorry, I couldn't, foresee the future of the USPS not falling apart because I give them great credit, but that demand was just intense. And they all had the same issues that every other company does of you couldn't get more people, and you also had all the mandates and things you had to do to keep it going, and then demand was 4 times what you could have ever predicted.
Right, right. How in the world do you deal with that?
Right, right, yeah. So, but yeah, everybody's adapting to doing their best, and most people have been great. I will say that, people are understanding, but
you,
then you have a few that,
you service a
and
good community, though. The trad
yeah,
community is a good community.
they really are. And that's why I love going to archery shoots. You'll see me at a bunch throughout the year when we have them.
Right.
Of it's so fun, and everybody is such good-hearted people,
Yeah.
and I always appreciate that. And they do well, whether they call in or online comments. I mean, everybody's got opinions everywhere, but as a general whole, the archery community is the best there is.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. You see things on Facebook and on used to be Leatherwall. I haven't been on Leatherwall forever, but on and these things, and you think, oh man, but that's just like one person or two people. The rest of the archery community, if you get around it, man, I tell you, I know guys that have just brought people in. They'll just I know. Matter of fact, I know a guy I posted. It was years ago that one of my buddies broke his bow and I posted on Facebook, and it was an old secondhand bow that he bought at like a pawn shop. And you know how many people called me up and said, "Hey, I got a bow up here. Let's get it back in his hands. And it's just stuff like that. I mean, a lot of other people, groups of communities or whatever, you don't see a lot of that. But boy, in the archery community, you see it all the time.
Oh yeah, I'm very fortunate that I grew up in it. I mean,
Yeah.
we got business wise when I was 10. So I mean, I've been in an archery shoot, especially back in those days. It was every weekend I was somewhere, and it was, I can count on one hand how many problems I heard, not just us, but just like at an archery shoot of,
Yeah.
something stolen or whatnot. And every one of those was at the more large shows where it wasn't just, archery people there.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I mean, generally, just a great community. And yeah, like I said, online you'll have that here, there, and everywhere else.
Sure.
But it is going to be the flyers and the one-offs and that it's like, okay, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
tell you what, actually, as speaking of online marketing and all that, that's where I've seen the most of when we do more wide targeting and not archery people, where I've gotten either rude comments or crazy,
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
opinions. And I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know what, once you put this bow in someone's hand, where they just become a nicer person, or
Well, I
I don't
think
know what it is, but it's definitely, yeah, the archery folks are great, and I'm so happy I've been able to grow up in it myself, and I'm waiting for us to get shows back going again, so my girls and I can get back to going to them.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to hit a few more this year. I haven't hit hardly any, and I hear about it all the time. Well, hey, are you going to such and such? How come you're not there? And basically, it's because I love to hunt.
Right,
So,
right.
you,
Yeah. Well, it's a great argument for it when you go, oh, why weren't you there? Well, I was, out in the woods hunting. Oh, well, I ain't gonna hold that against you.
yeah,
That's all.
but at the same time, I look on Instagram and I see some of the stuff that these guys are hanging out at the tournaments, or at some of like the longbow safari is one I really have to hit. I got to hit that. And I see this stuff and I'm like, man, that looks like a really good time. I need to get there.
Oh yeah. Well, I can say, even, I mean, because I try to travel all over the country for getting to different shows and that, and I can say I can't say I've ever had a bad time. I mean, even when it's pouring down rain, storms, blistering hot, cold, any of it, all of it,
Right.
it's always been a great time. Because when you get us all together and we're just, just shooting bows, and you're going there to have fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
unless you brought something with you, it's hard to have a bad time. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're shooting bows. Right? Even my worst day of work, I talked archery all day.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you probably have to keep that in perspective. I guide too, so I have to do that sometimes. I'll be like, oh my gosh, this was such a hard day. We had to move 5 times. I had to put decoys out, pull them up, and then I look back and I go, wait a second, I got to put decoys out, put them up.
Yep, yep.
I got to feel the weather. I got to feel all this stuff. So it's funny how we can make work out of anything, right?
Oh yeah. It is, and it's definitely just that break to go. You know what?
Yeah.
This is what I got to do today. Like yours, I love the idea of that. To be like, I wasn't stuck behind a desk all day.
Yeah.
That would be. So, but it's, and you hear it a lot, but really letting it sink into you, like taking the time to appreciate what you got. Like me, I've done this my entire life, and I understand how awesome that is to
Right.
some people. I mean, it's still work. I do a
Oh yeah.
lot.
Oh yeah.
But end of the day, I got to do traditional archery and feed my family doing it.
Yep.
That
That's pretty
that's a
cool.
great thing.
Yep. Yeah, I the other morning it was blowing and cold, and I was zipping up my hood around my face, and I was thinking, what am I doing this for? And then I start getting the boat up on plane, come around the corner, and I look over to the west, and um, the sun starts coming up, and you're like, or to the east, and the sun starts coming up, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is why I get to do this.
Yep. Yep.
Pretty funny stuff, though. Yeah, cool. So, what's on your? I know that you're super busy this year with 2020 going on, and then you decided you're kind of a glutton for punishment. You decided to build a house.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah, well, that one, my wife and I bought some land a few years back. Actually, we weren't even looking to build at the time, but we found this perfect little piece of 6 acres of heaven for us. Of it's out in the country because I've been
nice.
city living for the past, oh man, well, my daughter's 13, so yeah, past 13 plus
Wow.
years, and it's one of those of like, all right, I gave that up so my kids could have great
Yep.
neighborhoods and all the friends they've developed, and and all that. But now.
Yeah. Yeah.
We looked at it, and of course, with the economy where it was, interest rates were great. And said, "All right,
Yep.
now's the time to build." So
Yep.
we're going through all the joys and headaches that brings. Um, and it's all adventures. It's all remembering,
Sure.
like we were just saying, of how fortunate it is,
Yep.
and I will be excited to be living back out in the country. It's only 5 minutes from the city limit line, but it's still country living.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yeah. I was just wondering, do you got any plants or plans for hunting coming on, or are you going to be pretty busy this year and not being able to go out? Of course, you're going to probably whitetail hunt, but I mean, anything away from the state?
well, here's the kicker with that. Even I I get maybe a few days of Indiana whitetail hunting
Yeah.
each year if I'm lucky, because what I run into is because during hunting season is a very busy time for us, and
Yeah.
I always guilt myself into working because I'm like, I got so much to get done, so I really only get to like hunt, put the time in when I do travel to hunt, because you're away. It's like, well, you don't have reports to fill, you don't have
Sure.
meetings to have. You're dedicated to it. And as of right now, I don't have anything officially on the books. I had to push off a moose hunt last year that I haven't. I think I'm going this year, but I haven't had anything confirmed. So it's like, as of right now, this could be a pretty light year.
Yeah.
Which we'll see. I like to roll with it, and when opportunities pop up, I'll do my best to jump for them. I've got a amazing wife that is very understanding of that's my that's my free time that I
Yeah.
get, because when I'm here, it's work, work, work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Moose hunt is on my radar too. I gotta get that done. That's one thing I really want to do.
yeah, I got the opportunity for Colorado cow moose,
Oh wow.
and yeah, so it's funny, because everybody wants to go for the big bulls and that, which that's definitely on my bucket list too, but hard to do. But the cow tags are a little easier to come by, and I'm looking at it going, yeah,
Huh.
I'd like a freezer full of that. That looks good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that would, and quite honestly, I love calling bull elk, and I love the whole idea of being in there. But quite honestly, it's all about the adventure, really. And you're going to be among
Mhm.
moose. you know,
Yep.
um, I got a buddy that he's probably going to draw Mount Emily, and if you know anything about Oregon, Mount Emily is the unit in Oregon. It's not a matter of seeing bulls and calling bulls in. It's a matter of how big a bulls and how many. And so when if he draws that tag, I'm like, I would give up some of my hunting time to go over there and help him just to be a part of that adventure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've thought about that with my dad and some of his exciting hunts. So you know what? I'll just go to carry your
Oh
pack for you and
yeah,
take pictures if that's what you're looking for. I mean, yeah. No, there's it's definitely that, the adventure and the different. I've been very very fortunate that I get to hunt with my dad a lot, and it's like, yeah, I'll go just to carry your bow, when you need a break, if that's possible. And fortunately, I've been able to do more actual hunts with him than just going with him. But yeah, yeah,
yeah,
no, there's some like that. Like that would be awesome, just to run around the mountain.
yeah, yeah. That's kind of why I want to go up to Alaska for the moose hunt, because I want to take the bush plane in. It's part of it.
Yep.
I watch a guy on YouTube, Billy Moles, and he's a rifle hunter. He's a guide, and he just takes guys out. But the adventure that he captures is so I don't know. It's so inclusive, regardless of what they're doing. It's just all about adventure with that guy, and that's really what that's why I carry a trad bow. I could have probably finished my deer season off last year with a compound, because these blacktails are really hard to get within 20 yards of. 50 yards is not as hard. I was within 50 yards of a lot of pretty good big blacktails last year, and two of them were shot by guys that I told where to go last year, and it's pretty crazy. You put a trad bow in your hands because partially because you just want to continue to do it. You don't want it to be a shot and done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I know my dad back in the 80s. That's why he switched. Was anything within 30 yards was going to die. It was just basically pick the day you want to kill one, go out and do it. And it's like the challenge to it, and then extending your adventure of being able to jump out there. That's one thing I'm excited about with where we're going to be moving. It's there's not 6 acres. That's next to nothing, but I can run out in the backwoods and, and sit in the tree stand and just have a good reason to be out there, or go bunny hunting when once we're out there and that. Talk to the neighbors and be able to just
shoot your bow with a 3D course, and
I already got that half plan, man.
Yeah,
I've been accruing targets for the past few years, and I'm like, okay, that'll be out there.
I was going to ask you if you knew where to get some targets. There's this place called 3Rivers.
They even got free shipping on them now.
No, we're actually we about a year and a half ago, we did kind of the same thing. We bought a house out of town, and we only have just a little bit of land, but it backs up to thousands of acres. And so on our little place here, though, I'm going to create and that's part of what we're going to do with the YouTube stuff, is I'm going to create a backyard course, but it's not going to be like most of the courses that you've seen. You're going to have to donate arrows on some of these targets. And quite honestly, we're going to go through and build it. And then I'm going to invite guys that I got a lot of friends out here, and we'll have a little contest. But we're going to base it on basically the guys, some of the famous videos you've seen, like Fred Bear and that, and he's behind the rock, and the bear comes around the rock. We're going to base a couple targets on that kind of stuff, and target like being on horseback and things like that. And then we'll have a little miniature contest between all of us, and it's going to just be a good time. But
oh man, that sounds perfect. Those are definitely the most fun shots of where.
Oh yeah.
It's different. It's new. I don't know anybody that's not out at one and going, that target's 50 yards away. I got it.
Yeah.
And throw an arrow, because it's the fun. It's the doing it. I've like a lot of folks, I go to some shoots that are they're mixed, where it's compound and traditional and that. And by mixed, I mean there's me, and then
everybody else shooting the compound, and everybody's watching you.
And God, it feels like I'm having more fun with it. Like somebody. Their sights off and whatnot, and they don't hit it in the 12 ring, and then they got a scowl move on it, and I shoot it, and I hit them right in the lungs, and I'm like, heck yeah, that's what I was trying for. I had one, it was like I forget what it was, but one of those $3 an arrow shot, and a big pink elephant way out there. I think it was an elephant. But, I'm looking at this, and it's like, no way. I'm an instinctive shot, so I'm just all right. Pull it back, draw, shoot. I was 2 feet out of the kill zone, but this had to be like 110 yards or something.
So you're like an English longbowman.
Yeah. I was like, heck yeah. I mean, my left to right was off, but my up down was spot on. I'm like, oh man, and this kid was the one collecting the money. The most unimpressed anybody could have ever been. I remember looking at this kid going, what? Because you're everybody else.
Do you know what I just did?
I'm having a great time. But no, the idea of horseback shots, awesome. If you can, that I love aerial ones, so anything like that. Even I know Compton's has one, the running deer, where you put it all on a rope.
Yeah, zip line
goes.
Yeah,
that stuff's fun. And the big thing is where people, you're prepping for hunting. Like, no, I'm just having a blast.
Right.
Throw a soda can out there, and we'll just sling arrows trying to hit it if you want. But have fun with it. And those more crazy fun shots, beautiful, beautiful stuff. And love it.
Yeah, and I have so many guys around here that come up and shoot and come up, and so many guys are like, man, I want to try a trad bow, and we have a few bows floating around and stuff, so this will be another place where we could just have a ball and get some more bows in those guys' hands. It'll be pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, well, because especially when you get to the fun shots where it's not, all right, you don't have a minute and a half to range find it,
Yeah.
Set it up and do it. Like, all right, you got to be quick. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
That gets a lot of folks there. I was at a one shoot once, which it was all mixed of who could be there, which is great and fine, as long as you got the time to wait on others.
Yeah.
Aerial shooting. Holy smokes! You want to see a compound guy get driven mad?
Oh, yeah.
No, it goes up and you hit it. I was shooting so good they stopped me from shooting.
They're like, no more.
Yeah, that's enough. You're good. You're right.
It's not near as hard as it looks either.
No,
that's the cool.
It's just the mindset, man,
Yep.
of where you get into it for it, and
Yep.
that's why I love the fun shots, because you got to be on the go and mind adapting to it. And there's so many questions out there. What style of shooting do you? Are you gap? String walking, instinctive, sights? Any of that, all that. And it's like, just try some of it.
Yeah.
See how it goes. And for me, I've always been instinctive, and I'm actually cross-eye dominant even.
Wow.
But when you don't think to it of like, all right, this is exactly how it's got to go. For it, you just.
Adjust.
Your mind adapts, and that's a beautiful thing, and it adapts. Throw a baseball and you hit somebody with it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you get used to it.
Yeah, it's when you start trying too hard. My son's cross-eye dominant, and I don't know if you watched any of our videos, but we had one video up duck hunting where he shot a box and a half of shells and got a duck. And that was what the whole video was about. But and it was a cross-eye dominance thing, and then once he quit trying so hard, then he started hitting,
Oh, well, and I see that a lot of, like, especially when you have people come in the shop and you put a bow in their hands. Is like when they first start, they do amazing and they have a great time and they shoot with it, and then they start like trying to break it down and get into it, and they get a bit frustrated. Like, just relax, just get back to where you were. Because the one thing I really love about traditional archery, and I'll say that a lot to a lot of things, but the one that I really really love is. It is such a great sport because you can make it as simple or as complicated as you want.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I've had people walk up with garage sale bought bows and arrows that they don't match.
Yeah.
They're so off, and it's their first time shooting a bow, and you can have a blast doing that. Absolute blast doing that. And then you can worry about FOC, draw curves, wind level, size, any of it and all of it, as minute details you want to get into it. And both sides of that spectrum can be an absolute blast.
Oh, yeah.
And you can enjoy it all. I mean, I've got my simple bows that I built and I shoot and love that. And then, I've got my metal riser. I'm looking at my brand new one, the HT21, where, it's got weights that are built into it and for fine tuning even every bit of the bow. And that's fun too.
Right.
And there's times I like that, and then there's times I grab the bow I built with my dad, go sling some arrows that I put together, and it's to be fun.
Yeah, that whole spectrum of things, and quite honestly, when I started traditional bow hunting. Oh, it's like '89. I switched over to compounds, and my dad and I both bow hunted, and we bow hunted a unit you used to be able to just go get a tag for. Now it's a hard unit to get. And I got a compound because these, my recurves. Shoot, I was shooting jackrabbits out of tree stands at 30 yards pretty easily with my recurve. But but it's not going to kill an elk, right? That's what you always heard, And, and back in those days too, I mean, just, all my uncles and stuff who were big elk hunters, were looking at bows like, you're going to go out and shoot an elk with that, because they've shot them with rifles and know how hard the rifle hits those things and how much an elk will soak up. And, so I had all these doubts in my head, so I got a compound. I'll never forget. And the first it was a deer, not an elk this time, but the first deer that came within range, I pull up on that thing, and I pull up, and the minute I pull up, I had those old brass pins. That brass pin just went ding, 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 and dropped all the way to the bottom, and I was lost. I was like, now what am I gonna do? So I was like, man, if I had that recurve in my hands, that would have been a dead deer. And so I kind of just put the compound away, and that's where I just ran with the stick bows. And I've been across, recurves and longbows, and I can't say which one I like better. I like them both. But it's the same thing, when you start getting out there, and you just, I don't know, for as far as barebow hunting, it's just it pulls you in. It's something that I think our ancestors has done forever. It feels like it's something naturally that we should be doing, and I don't know. I can't, just sitting here talking about it, I want to go shoot squirrels.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it, and we're in it. That's that feeling that you get from it. Like, I've been very fortunate on my success rate with hunting with it, but most of it's just, I love being outdoors and going after it, because there are easier ways to do it. There's a heck of a lot easier ways to get meat in the freezer. That's
yeah, I got some buddies, man. They're really good hunters, and it's beyond them to come back from a trip without having something. And that happens to us trad guys quite often. I mean, may have seen way more animals, but if you can't reach out 300 yards and shoot it, you're just watching them, which is not a bad deal.
No, right. No, absolutely. That's why, I can't watch, for a while back, especially, I couldn't watch hunting shows, gun ones where like, oh yeah, they're 450 yards away. I'm like, you're in another zip code. And, I try to be understanding. Everybody's different where they're going for it, but it's like, geez, but that's me. Like me, I'm comfortable out to 25 yards, but my average shot's within 15. Heck, most of the time I'd say it's even within 10, because to me that's the desire to get inside their senses. And I guess predator way to it of like, I did that. I made it happen. But everybody's different. Everybody's got a different take to it, and I get that.
Oh yeah, yeah, and there's trad guys shooting them at 30 yards all day long. And
all day long. Yeah, heck, you boys out west, that's just a requirement for some areas.
Yeah, for deer especially, man. Some of these guys that are hunting trad stuff, like over eastern Oregon and stuff, unless they're hunting elk are a different animal. They were made for trad bows. But, some of those mule deer, and I couldn't even imagine an antelope. And these guys that are doing this, it's pretty crazy. Some of those guys are just really, really, really good at shooting. I tend to be, I'm going to probably work a little bit more on that, because I got some mule deer hunts that are here in Oregon that are trad only hunts, and it's open country. So I'm going to have to extend my range just a tad. And those kind of things, I'll have to look at arrow setup. Well, like you said, you can make it as easy or as difficult as you want it to be. But
absolutely,
it's just one of those things. I think just having a simple stick and string in your hands, it's fully immersive. It really is. Even the shot is. We had four. Yeah, we got 4 bulls this year. 3 of the guys were shooting compounds. Gage, of course, he knew exactly where his went. But like David, when he shot his bull, he's like, yeah, I lost it. I lost the arrow because I'm looking through a sight. I'm worrying about a peep, and then I got to look through the front sight, and then I don't even see my arrow take off, and I lost it. I'm not exactly sure where I hit. And I'm thinking to myself, man, with trad bow, you know exactly what happened, Yep. So even the shot's immersive. I don't know, something about it, man. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Preaching the fire there.
Yeah. And something I saw also is I was looking. Another thing about traditional bow hunting is you could spend as much as you want, or to get into it, you don't have to. Like getting into compound bows, man, you're spending a ton of money right off the bat, and you don't even know if you're going to want to do it or not.
Right.
But with the trad setup, I saw you guys have some kits for like 200 and some odd dollars, right? And maybe I'm
Yeah.
maybe I'm low
No.
gunning it there, but um, you could, and the thing is, you could get into that, shoot that bow, and it's not going to mess you up for another bow, and then you'll be able to sell that bow or give it to a kid, and I don't know. It seems like maybe that's why a lot of people are starting to do it now.
Yeah, and definitely, and you've seen a lot more growth in kind of the say lower end bows, that low cost to it, which has been amazing for getting people to try it. Because you're right, yeah, I've got kits, just a little over $200, and all you got to do is add a target and you're off to the races.
Yeah,
But
yeah. You know
yeah,
what? Yeah, and I've talked to a lot of the custom guys because a lot of our bows now are, they're all a lot of trad bows are custom guys around here. Um, and I talked to a lot of them. I said, well, what do you guys think of that? Some lower bows and this and that, and they're like, man, get them in because nobody's going to be able to not just get one bow. It just doesn't happen, and
yep,
and they get in, they're going to look at all of our custom stuff, and they're going to buy bows because of this, because maybe they like this type of wood that we build our bows out of. And most of the custom guys, they are all about just getting bows in people's. That's probably another thing about traditional archery that I really like is these guys. They're the long-term people. They believe in just getting it out there and getting going.
oh yeah, yeah, no, definitely. For traditional archers in general, growing the sport is first and foremost. I mean, there's different, like we said before, there's
Oh
different
yeah,
people with different
yeah,
mindsets out there, but for the most part, everybody's wants just to grow the sport, because it's a great one and we love it, and it's just having that love for it. That's what they say, rising tide raises all boats.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, I can sell these import very cheap bows to get more hands-on bows, and they are going to go to that.
Yeah.
They want to try it, and that's what we're able to do with that. And then once you get used to it, and you're like, all right, well, what do I like? And someone go, well, all bows shoot the same. It's they all fling it out. It's like true, but who doesn't like something a little nicer? I mean,
Yeah, and
I've got a few nice ones floating around, and then you've got some. I've got a few sages in mine. My wife's first bow was a sage.
right,
This is from a guy that's got probably more bows in a
right,
in a building than anybody. But it was like I wanted her to try it and
right,
be used to it.
right.
And I had a connection, but I still sold a bow to buy her one of our nice tomahawks on it. Because
Right.
it's like, yeah, you don't just start there. You got to start somewhere where you're comfortable with, and you go from there.
Right.
Um,
Right. Or you go to an ILF bow, or that's the cool thing about this, and it's all the same stuff. I mean, not same stuff as far as the way the bows are and that kind of thing, but it's all a stick and string, and you're still using the human part of things to shoot. And I don't know. There's just something very drawing about it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And there's especially when you get into the custom boilers. I mean, they're making works of art. I mean,
Yeah.
absolute beautiful bows, and then the connection with it. Our basis is tomahawk bows. That's
Yeah.
what was first.
Yep.
And we every weekend, kid you not, every weekend I was in a car going to some other shoot to sell those bows, where my dad was building connections with guys of that relationship of, okay, this is what you want in a bow, and this is what we can do, and that, and growing it from there. So yeah, no, on the custom bow range, it's more bows out there is better for everybody, because
Yeah.
you're going to find one that goes, yeah, this is what fits right for me.
Yeah.
And there'll still be people that they'll only own the cheap ones, but they weren't in that wheelhouse of somebody that makes custom bows anyways.
Right. Right. Yep.
But we all grow, as you
Yep.
love it, you get into more. You think of any other hobby. You're buying a mountain bike right now. You set for it. You're going to
Yeah.
have a nicer one in a year or two, anyways. This one does this or it does
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
It,
I got my old
it's
ones.
a
I used to
thing.
race the darn things, and I'm just using it now to kind of get into shape. And then we got some lock gates here, and we're gonna have more because of the fires. So it's gonna be a great hunting tool. Um, So yeah, I'm trying to get ahead of the curve, I guess,
There you go.
or behind
So
it. Who knows? They've been around forever.
right.
But yeah, and
No.
talking with growth too. So one of the cool things that happened this last year with 3 Rivers is you guys started bringing in muzzle loaders too, which I think go exactly with what you're doing with archery.
Yeah, yeah. It was. It's one of those things of right. We're always looking for new products, new things for our customers and the traditional archery industry of that benefits and helps. And one of those was like, well, let's get outside the box. And we did the muzzle loading kits was the first thing we
Yeah,
picked up with. And that was like, it does fit so well because the traditional bow hunter is, it's a mindset.
yeah,
Because like we've
yep.
been saying, the whole one is, there's easier ways to do it. And all of us own, uh, guns and
Oh yeah,
a bunch of people own compounds where they actually hunt with that. And it's the mindset for shooting the
right,
bow. And it goes, okay,
right.
let's take that mindset and see where it goes.
Yeah,
And muzzleloader was just a easy one for us.
yeah,
And we've picked up a lot since then that relates to it to really expand on it because it's like what um, it fits so well. It's just the same mindset. We thought there's not a lot of stores out there where you can get it, and definitely after last year where there was a lot more people looking into stuff like that of like I said, hobbies growing and things like especially outdoor stuff. It's fit well, and I don't know where it's going to go. We let our consumers, our customers, make those decisions. If they sell, great, we'll keep
right.
going. If they don't, you won't. But we thought it was a great parallel of, what? Yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a great parallel. I built one of the kits, the St. Louis Hawken, and I'll tell you what, it opened up. Okay, for those of you who are listening here and going, man, traditional bows and muzzleloaders, trust me, you guys, start looking into some of the traditions that go along with the muzzleloading community. It is I jumped into that and I immersed myself into it, and they have their own Fred Bears over there, and it is, and I mean, this stuff is rich. It's more than just picking up a rifle and shooting it. It's like traditional bows. It's the same thing. You know how when we get into a community, we're in a community. Well, it's the same thing with the muzzleloaders, and the muzzleloading community actually, unless you go back to like some of the indigenous people with the bows and arrows, but here in America, there are counties in Kentucky where if you built a rifle a certain way that didn't look like a Kentucky rifle, that rifle would be shunned in that county. That's how rich this stuff is. And when I started getting into muzzleloading, looking at some of the stuff, it is absolutely amazing at how similar some of the ideas that you have. And like you said, we're traditional people, right? And that's how it
mhm.
is. Um, I I want to do more with my muzzleloader. Um, I am going to actually. I may even. I'm going to end up elk hunting with it this year, just because of the way bow season's working out for me. I'm not going to be able to bow hunt, which is killing me. This is the first season in I don't know how many that I'm not going to be able to bow hunt. But I'm in.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm in the air guard, and they're sending me away for September. So
oh, that kills.
yeah, it kills. It kills. But my son is picking up. I think he's going to pick up the traditional bow, which that really hard too because that's his first year of traditional bow hunting, and I'm not going to be there.
You're like now
Yeah,
you're like good, congrats and all that, but
yeah,
now all these years.
yeah, yeah. So it hurts, but also at the same time, it probably is opening up an opportunity for me to hunt a muzzleloader hunt. With the bow or with the muzzleloader and doing a pretty hardcore muzzleloader hunt. We're looking at packing into some of the wilderness areas, and we're running one of those teepee tents with a wood stove, and it's going to be snowy, and so it's I don't know. It was meant to be that way, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's actually because of you, sir. Why I have sitting right next to me on my my second desk here, I one of the kits.
Oh, right on.
So I've been eyeing it, but like anyone else, all the stuff I had supplies wise, it's for sale and all that. But I finally, I said I couldn't hold back. I want to build one of these guns and hunt with it. Because to me, well, a lot of the same stuff. My favorite is I have a bow I built with my dad and wood arrows I built, and I've
Right.
done the deer with it, and it's like, man, that connects well. So here I'm like, man, I get to build the gun
Oh, yeah.
and then go hunt with it, and it's just yeah, I couldn't hold back anymore. And we had one in the shop here that something with it, and I was like, yep, that one's mine. Here you go. Here's my money.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the deal, clear some time in November, build that kit, and let's come out and go hunting with me.
Oh, I
I
know.
said
I
it
know.
here.
We've talked about it. We've talked about it, and I keep. And the kicker is, I know I'm like, man, if I'm going to hunt, I've got to schedule it and just go.
Right. Yeah.
And I have the most amazing wife that's been great. I'm like, all right, go for it. Our kids are a little bit older,
Yeah.
so they're not the handfuls that like they were when they
Yeah.
were 2 and 3 and that. So it's like it's a little bit easier for me to do that, and she's been too supportive of it almost because it's like, okay, I'll do it. Just put it on the calendar and start going.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll up the ante. I'll send you a bunch of information when we get off of here. Maybe we might even be able to talk Jerry into it. Jerry Goins is a muzzleloader hunter too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely. Send me the info.
I'm horrible.
I've gotten better on not questioning it. It's like just go for it.
I got great big tents with wood stoves and a lot of coffee too. So.
And it sounds magical. Like when you're describing them, that's it. Like if you close your eyes and you picture what's that perfect hunt look like.
Yeah.
It's that stuff. I'm sleeping in a tent. I got a wood stove, keep me warm. That crisp, cool morning air on it. And it's like that's it.
That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about.
One of my favorite hunts was in Iowa, and it was in a cabin that I've been in bathrooms bigger than that cabin was, and it was just magical because it's like this is a deer camp. Everything was you boil the water and if you want a hot shower and all that, and just like this, close your eyes. That's how you picture it. And I've been on fancy hunts too, where it's like real high treatment and it all, and it's just like shooting a bow. It's all the varieties to it and enjoying it all. And then, I mean, I still love though I don't get to do it as much as I really should. My Indiana deer hunting, just running out. And now I'm super excited because now that we own this, this little 6 acres, that's my dirt.
Yep.
And I've killed one gorgeous doe on it. The first year we bought it, I threw a tree stand on it, and Bill, my folks have some land north of us. I went and I hunted this 6 acres and killed this absolutely gorgeous doe, and I can't even really describe how good that felt. Like. I've hunted on private land. I've been very fortunate in that, but like this was my dirt.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was with my bow and my arrow that I built, and it felt really good. Every time I took a bite of a steak that year, it was a little moment of silence and just think about, I don't, not to get too into it, but
no, get into it. That's what it's about.
Yeah. Right. And that's it. And that's what it was. It's like, man, it felt so good. That steak wasn't made any way different. Or, a hamburger wasn't ground any other, but just that.
Yep.
Everything that went into that really, really hit home for me, and I like that.
And there, even further, when you're sharing it with your kids and your wife, you've provided that off of that piece of land. No, I get it totally. I totally get it.
Yep. It's that feeling. That's what we go for. Everybody listening, you say you assume it, but you hope they can feel that. Where that's the demand and the desire to it is. I put in all this extra work, and I made it that more personal that it could be.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's good stuff. Well, we're getting close to being at an hour here, and I know how busy you are. I don't want to keep you here any longer. But before we take off, there's one last question I would like to ask you. I think you have a good thumb on the pulse of traditional archery. I say this to a lot of the guys like, TJ, when I have him on here, because he's around it a lot too, and he's got his thumb on the pulse. Where do you think traditional archery's going? I know that's a hard question.
It's not a hard one. It's just a big one
Yeah.
because there's so many aspects to it.
Right.
And I think we're definitely going to see, or what we have seen to it is a lot of that middle ground folk to it of they don't see it as I'm a traditional archer. Like you and me, we're traditional bow hunters. That's how we identify, and that's first. You're going to see a lot of people that are archers getting into it. They don't identify it as this way, that way, or any other way. Just they're shooting. More recreational to it.
Right.
That's where I see traditional archery. I'd say is a lot of that going, where you see a lot more growth to it. Their shooting experiences at ranges and small local competitions to that. But I think that's good because having that base there can be really good for every other aspect.
Sure.
Whether they want to go to be Olympic archers, or they want to be Fred Bears, or they want to be any and everything in between on that. That's where I see a lot of it going. And I think the reason also for that is also with the advancement of technology that's been done in hunting in general for it. You're going to see that growth to the the more basic one, because they'll be like, well, all that's out there and that's not an interest to them. You're going to have they want to have it more hands-on and controlling to it.
Yeah.
As for what it means, I guess, for the sport, especially guys like us, where in our minds of what it looks like to what it's going to be, that'll be interesting. I am very supportive of a lot of different ways of how you shoot a traditional bow.
Sure.
There's always the arguments of everybody in different camps of, oh, this is traditional, that's not.
Yeah.
And I get that, because for most people, it's what they have, what they're around.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate. I'm all over the country and world and seeing it all and experiencing different things. Like, okay, I get that. Like I said, I've got metal riser bows I love to hunt. I've got my long bow I built with my dad, and I've got a south bow I built with Gary Davis forever ago, and I love it all.
Yep.
And I see it all the same as traditional archery.
Yep.
That's what I think we need more of. And there's always balance, because someone goes, well, that's not that, and they've got their reasons for it.
Sure.
But, I think that will be the interesting aspect of the future, is how the old guard identifies with the new, not as die hard. Like, when I tell somebody we don't tell people we're archers. We say, oh, we're traditional archers, or we're traditional bow hunters.
Right.
But then they just say, I shoot archery, or I'm an archer. And that's just how they identify to it. So it'll be neat to see how the two groups intermix in the future, because they need to. I mean, that's the new growth, and you got to have that. Otherwise, you're not going to have a future to it. So,
yeah, and quite honestly, a lot of the guys that we're carrying the torch from, they're doing a very good job. The ones that are in the limelight. Take Traditional Bowhunter magazine, for goodness sake. Look at what they've done in the last 5 years, in their advertising and in the way that they approach things, and how diverse the people or the coverage of traditional bow hunting they try to cover. I see that across the board. Of course, I see, the other stuff sometimes, but I see that, like Jerry Goins. Jerry's been at this forever, and that guy is all inclusive. I know for a fact. I've been around him a lot when he's had other guys coming into the camp. And so it's pretty interesting to see that. But yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying with, some of the old guard needs to understand that some of the guys coming in, that institution of being a part of a fraternity is not on their radar. And it was on that generation going out. It was definitely on their radar because of that's how we did things back then. So that's going to be interesting. Yeah, I think you're right. And I think we need to be all inclusive as far as getting the sport out there,
Yeah, it's and and it's such a you can snowball it to this, that, and the other, how you want to look to it, but um, it's just the open mind and understanding, like, you know what, we all have, we're pulling a string, shooting an arrow.
Yep.
That's how I identify it, because they run. You get the question a lot: difference between longbow and recurve, and it's so simple, and the little things. It's like, remember that you're shooting a traditional bow.
Yeah.
And until it's, well, I don't even want to go to the extremes of it all, but yeah, just that it's opening, accepting of how people are shooting these bows. And as long as it stays traditional, and it's such a blend, because it's in every sport and every hobby out there of new versus old to it, but we're a bit unique in the one that, well, we are a very a very old style way of doing it. So it's when you get newer ways to it coming in, or at least rediscovered, or however you want to look at it, of like that blend of like, well, it's the same, because you get arguments both ways to it. Oh, well, you're just flinging arrows and don't care about accuracy, to the other one of you're making it, to where it's just not fun anymore. And it's just, I guess for me, the inclusive of being open-minded to it. If someone's enjoying having a bow in their hand, that's first and foremost the first thing to see to it. Like back to the beginning of our conversation, appreciating that, we get to enjoy this and do this, and that's key. That's why, like I said, not to beat that drum again, but the archery shoots expanding on where they're advertising it to. Don't tell the people that look just like you to come to the archery shoot that have always been coming to shoot.
Right.
Find those new folks out there. There's a lot of people that have a bow that don't know that you've got an event going on, and they would be absolutely perfect, to have there.
Right. Yeah. Just the new people coming into it. My son is shooting 3 under, and he wanted to shoot a metal riser bow. And the only reason I was like, well, you don't need to be shooting a metal riser bow. The only reason I said that to him is because I have a bunch of wooden bows in the house.
Well, that's why I want those.
Yes. So, and he's
yours, but even I know that.
He's gonna do it. He'll get a metal riser. But I'm just saying that there's sure a surge within bow hunting, with traditional bow hunting. There's a surge of ILF bows and metal risers, and to see guys reacting to that, I see some of the other guys going, "That's not a real bow," and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" That is a very real bow. And these guys that are picking these up, some of these guys are taking their shooting so serious that they're shooting right alongside with some of the compound guys at 3D shoots, and within ranges, within the range, they are holding their own. And so more power to them.
Absolutely. Like you say, gets back into that, finding what fits you and being confident and comfortable with it. And first and foremost, have fun.
Yeah. Yep. And if having fun means touching every arrow, more power to you, man. If that was my idea of fun, I'd probably drive myself nuts, because I'm not going to touch every arrow.
It's, and the one thing I've always liked, on the metal riser one too, because I've shot one. Actually, the reason I picked up a DOS bow, because I'd been tomahawk bow forever, was when I had to fly to hunt.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I ever picked up a metal riser bow was, well, this needs to go in a suitcase, because otherwise it's going to cost $100 each direction to ship it.
Yeah. Well, and if you are shooting some of those different methods and you want to mess with tiller and things like that, that's the way to go. Really, is to if you want to get precision like that and work over your shot like that. Oh yeah, that's me. I've been at this too long to try to do something new. I was thinking about trying to string walk and stuff, and I'm like, I just want to go shoot.
Right. It's funny, because I'm eyeballing kind of, well, it's really finding the time, but eyeballing, like, what's something new to do with it, to try. That's what keeps the passion going in it.
Yeah.
Is finding what keeps the drive on there. And it's like, what, let's set up one of these target rigs and have a hoot with it. And then like I said, I'm a traditional bow hunter first and foremost. And that's where it's all going to end up. But anything to do up till then, go with it.
Yeah, I got a feeling my son's going to end up picking up one of those bows eventually. I just could see it in him. That's what he's after. And what's going to happen is, especially when we start building our targets and stuff here, what's going to happen is he's going to be going all over there and kicking my butt everywhere. And then, so I'm going to be like, well, you know what? I could probably pick up another 5 yards on my hunt if I get one of these. So it'll probably happen. It's just, you get to be, I don't know. I rather spend a lot of my time out hunting, so,
Right, right.
but
I'll tell you what, I'll call it now. You mark the date. Your son will probably at some point, even though, build a self bow.
yep, yep,
They jump in on that technical side of it, where it can really tune and tweak, and then
yep.
and at some point it'll be there. I got one. I built one with Gary Davis years ago, and it's a fun bow. I don't shoot it as much now anymore, but now we're thinking about it, man. I might have to go pull it out. But that's one thing I hope to do one day is kill a deer with a self bow and a homemade arrow, and heck, if I can, even
Flint.
a homemade flint knapped
Yeah.
head, just to have it.
I'm with it. Yep. Yep. Right now I'm shooting single bevel broadheads and I got everything tuned to Ashby specs and things like that. But there was a time in my life I built self bows. I have kindling now, but you could either build a really durable self bow or a fast one. Now when it becomes a real trick is when you build a durable and fast one. And I haven't figured that one out yet, but that's on my list too. I would love to hunt with an obsidian head, and I've napped my own heads. I would love to do that.
I have a kit from when I was actually I let my brother have it because he got the bug to try it. But I have a kit from when we were DMJ Archery, so that would have been
Wow.
in the '90s. That's kind of traveled with me year to year to year everywhere I go. It's like, yeah. One of these days, I'll nap a head out, and I mean, I'm already making wood arrows, so
Yeah. Yeah. What would be really cool is to show the whole spectrum within like a YouTube series. That would be really fun to do. I mean, just to do the series, and then show how much you fail at things and then overcome those failures to make because that's basically how I got into traditional archery is I was trying to overcome failures in a lot of the things that the other types of archery were creating for me, and me being a simple-minded kind of person, it just worked out. But being able to go from taking a yew wood tree, because we got yew all over us, take a yew wood tree to a bow, and then go full spectrum over to a DOS bow with all the tillers set at a certain angles and all that. I just all of it's cool.
oh yeah, it really is, and it's really there's place for all of it, and to be able to enjoy it all. I think everybody should find what that is to them and enjoy it.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. Well, all right. I think we'll jump off here, but I gotta get you back on here, man. Preferably in a tent up in the wilderness somewhere,
Uh,
drinking coffee,
yeah,
watching the
I
snowfall.
close my eyes and picture it now, and it looks marvelous.
Yeah. Oh, we got some beautiful places, and they hold out too. So I mean, it's not like you're just camping, but yeah. Well, I'll send you over that information. But thanks for coming on. Any last words that you have?
Oh, get out and shoot.
There you go. There you go.
That's my last words to it all. Is to anybody and everybody listening, get out and shoot and enjoy it because it's why we do this.
Okay. Well, thanks a ton for coming on. Hey, the rest of you guys listening, I go over, check out 3Rivers. Especially, there is a model on their muzzleloader page that you got to see. But go over, check out 3Rivers, check out their catalog. It's one of those things that since I was just starting in this, I would thumb through that, and man, it just, I don't know, there's something about having a catalog. But go check them out. And also, if you guys could, go to Barebow Hunter, barebowhunter.com. We have all these podcasts set up there. We have our videos set up there. And also, if you like to help support us, we do have some hats and some things like that on there. So thanks for listening. And until next time, shoot straight.
Thanks for joining us for another installment of the Barebow Hunter podcast. Remember, we couldn't even be talking about this stuff if it wasn't for our public land. So go and support the people that are protecting it. Backcountry Hunters and Anglers and TRCP. Also, if you'd like to see more of Barebow Hunters, go to our Facebook group. Go to our Instagram at Barebow Hunters. Like us and hashtag all of your photos with your barebow goodness in them. Barebow Hunter. We have a website as well. You can go over there, check out the rest of the podcast. We have videos, we have t-shirts and hats. Thanks again. Until then, shoot straight.